Hello there, I'm Neurobax and welcome back to Stellaris. Last time we basically just did the real crater. I should have released this video half an hour or so after the first one, just to not mess up the, automatic things. But basically, we are the Bax Technocracy, and in the eons since the first primitive, the Bax communities took shape. Okay, I messed that up. Since first primitive Bax communities, the should not be there. On the great savannas of Bax Prime, our civilization has spread and prospered. Through scientific progress, we have managed to stamp out the superstitions that ruled the minds of our ancestors. As reason and rational thought spread among our people, the inefficient nation-states that we had until then organized ourselves into were disbanded, and a council of our most accomplished scientists was scattered to rule in their stead. Now, after the successful creation of an artificial subspace wormholes, the finest minds of the Bax Technocracy have finished construction of the first wormhole station at the edge of our system. The stars themselves are finally with our grasp. So this is basically, as I said in the last video, the wormhole station. You need one of these to actually be able to travel at all when you have wormhole tech. So basically, as you can see here, this is currently, I believe, my sensor range, or the ship's planets, etc. Everything inside here I can see. So basically if someone comes flying through, I'll see them and things like that. But the outer limit here is basically the range that I have with my hyperspace drive. And as you can see, we have 4 arms, spirals. Basically, if I had lane travel, I would be kind of restrained in where I was supposed to be going. Well, that's interesting. But we'll see how this works out. For now, this is where we are, and hopefully we can take over the entire galaxy before the menace arrives. But enough of that. We'll be starting here with the research. As you can see, we have 3 scientists already ready from the get-go, and we are actually really lucky here because this is one of the kind of rare talents. Spark of Genius, 10% research speed is pretty damn... it's a lot in the beginning. And we actually have a good tech here too. Research speed +5 for everything by researching a administrative AI. So we're going to do that right away. Next here, as you can see, we have this one is standard every time we start a game. It's basically the colony tech. Now we'll not be setting up colonies right away because as the game progresses, you can get a lot more influence, or basically the area that you have influence over changes. And since it's limited how many directly controlled planets we can have and sectors and things like that, I am going to limit myself in the beginning, and we are actually going to take this one because it gives monthly influence. Now the reason why I want influence is because you can use that influence to actually build basically outposts that give you control of a larger area. And the reason why you want a larger area is simply because of the fact that everything within your zone of influence, if there is asteroids or planets that you can mine, you don't actually need to set up a colony or anything. You can just basically set up a mining operation there and it'll channel back to your empire. So it's pretty easy in that way. Now this one is also very good. It's a Beltharian power plant. Usually you'll not have any power problems in the early game, but in the mid game and too late it becomes a bigger problem. But I'm sure this thing will pop up again, so you don't really need to go for that one right away. I'd rather actually go for minerals, I think. Granted, none of these are actually ideal, so we'll go for minerals. It'll give us a little bit more of the second currency, as you see. The 3 main currencies as well are energy, which basically works as cash. We have minerals, which basically works as every single material we need to build anything. And influence, which is, well, needed for some special buildings and some special actions. So we'll go more into that later. Here are the 3 categories of research, and as you can see, they're not together. They're indifferent to each other. So it's kind of important to try and grow all of them. But in one of my games, I had a lot of problem growing physics. So hopefully that will not happen because a lot of the important tags are hidden in physics. But now, as you can see here, what we spawn with is first and foremost a military fleet, a very small one. What you want to use this for in the beginning is basically just send it out to probe, because even though this one can't actually investigate the systems themselves, they'll be able to actually enter the systems, check if there's any colonizable anything there really, and most importantly, it'll tell you if there's any enemies there. So right now we're on a passive stance, which is not good. in the beginning, the space monsters and shit you can actually run into will mostly be more powerful than you, so I would advise setting your fleet to evasive in the beginning. Now, our next ship here is the science ship that we spawn with, and this will be one of your most important ships for the entire game. Now, the science ship can survey things. You can do this, which will survey the entire system, as you can see, or you can take the different pieces individually, but that is not advisable. What you basically want to do is survey everything that you have. As you can see here, this is inside my cone of influence. This is not, although it might look like it. It's, well, this one actually is, but this one isn't, because the thing is, with the galactic plane, things are over or under it, which kind of is misleading when you have a tilted plane like this. So you want to be, you want to try and be aware of that. So we'll. Oh, we actually have a Gaia world right next to us. This is interesting. Now, Gaia worlds are interesting for the sole reason that they are perfect for any kind of life. You don't really need anything for them. But this one is really, really tiny. So I might just... No, I'll probably not colonize that one even if I can. Or even if it would to some degree be beneficial for me. Now, as you can see, this is an Arctic world. We can't colonize that. This is a barren world. We can't colonize that. But here we actually have a continental world of decent size. So, again, we kind of get the good stuff already inside a cone of influence, which is super frustrating. I shit you not. So, let's just get started here. And I'm sorry, I spent a lot of time just explaining the basics here. My bad. But basically, let's just get started and see how things go. So, as I said, things will go rather slow in the beginning.
Evading hostile fleet.
But as you can see here, we've already encountered the aliens. This is the reason why I sent out the military fleet to just check out the systems. We encountered some form of alien vessels in the Chan system. These strange objects have been flagged as alpha aliens until we can learn more about them. So basically, whenever you... It did not take long for Back's Technocracy to conquer intelligent alien life. So have I run into another empire? I don't think so. But basically when you meet new people, they'll show up here and you can investigate them. The problem is though, usually these things will take 1 of your 3 researchers, which basically means that while I'm investigating the alpha aliens right now, my as you can see here, my society research has been paused. So that's not good, but not really much we can do about that. Now, as you can see here, the survey ship has actually found a mineral deposit on a nearby planet. You basically want to just take your construction ship and build a mining station. It doesn't actually come with any drawbacks to the mining station itself, but it costs a energy credit to use. It's basically kind of expensive in that regard, but other than that, you don't really have anything to worry about. So, as you can see, we also found some energy credits. So it's a decent starter system, I'll be honest. We also found an anomaly here in our system, and as you can see, it's the anomaly level is 2. My researcher skill is 1, so you don't really want to do this until you get your research in a higher level, because anomalies, well, they can be good, like really good, or they can be your ship exploded bad. So we'll leave that for now. As far as I know, they don't disappear. We can wait until our tech is of sufficient level, and then we can actually try and get something done. So let's see here. My military fleet got my military fleet actually stopped after they ran into the others, but I still wanted to just explore the things that we can reach, if you will, and we'll continue just building what we can also with the construction ship. Now, one thing to note here is that you actually have your own little starbase here, which you use to build basically everything in terms of ships. If it gets destroyed, you'll have to build a new one, and it's kind of a tedious process. But first of all, we can go on the surface here and look. And as you can see, we have some people who are actually working on tiles that doesn't actually have an improvement, and that basically just means that you get less from it. But as you can see, if you have a tile with 2 different things on, you can't actually take advantage of both unless it's on the capital, basically. The capital will also boost the production in the 4 tiles it's connected to. So basically, you have to make a choice in what you want to do. Now, I'm very tempted to actually try and build a science lab right away, because getting that science up and running early is kind of vital for us. We're trying to be the science, the empire, so we'll have to deal with that as time goes by. For now, however, I want to check out me. So, Frontier Outpost build cost is pretty good. It's the outpost I told you about that can give you some more land energy credits, 10%. Decent as well. And as you can see, there's 40 years between each election. So it'll take forever before we get a new ruler. So if you get someone who's horrible, you might want to just go full alert. But as you can see here, we've finally researched the Alpha aliens. The reports of strange free-floating crystal-like objects observed in certain system has been investigated. The ship-sized objects and slightly smaller but equally crystal-like satellites at first appeared inert, but sudden shifts in their orientation relative to our ships and new energy signatures emerging from within the prism indicate that they should be regarded as hazardous and approached with caution. Even though we not find a martial use for them yet, studying a shattered crystal would no doubt yield interesting results. So as you can see, I can either just go try and break them apart, which, let's face it, we have a weak fleet right now, it wouldn't really help us at all. Or we can basically just observe them for a while. So let's go ahead and start that one. And as you can see here, when you do something like this, you get a new line in your situation log. It's basically just a quest log, which will give you hints and show you where things are and things like that. But as you can see now, we're using physics research instead of this society research we were using last time. As you can see, my scientist, who is running around with the science ship here, has leveled up. She's now level 2. So if she tried to handle the anomaly now, the failure risk has gone down to 20%. We'll keep on leveling her a little bit longer before we do anything. Okay, these are crystalline things again. Crystalline elites, actually. So as you can see here, the military power of my fleet is about 70 when you start. These things have about 1200 total. So yeah, let's not mess with them. I don't want to get my fleet blown up already. But yeah, we're going to again just keep on investigating the area. And as you can see, the places where you've actually been, it's kind of neat. It just shows up in a green tint usually. So that's something that I really like, because it makes it very easy to discern where you've been and where you're going. So with that said though, as you can see here, my system has been surveyed. We found some tech as well as some more coins. Now the main problem you'll have in the beginning is actually the minerals. It'll take a while to actually get enough minerals to get anything done. So you have to make a choice if you want to actually build stations for anything else in the beginning. As you can see, they cost 90. You can get a ruler that would actually lower the cost, which I sadly did not. So that sucks a little bit. But we have found out about the Crystalline Entities. They are unbreakable apparently. The Crystalline Entities, the name itself, a compromise between rival factions of xenobiologists and xenogeologists on Bax Prime, are probably alive. An early and perhaps more descriptive name for them was silicate animate matter. As they have little in common with biological life, they are solitary beings, each individual crystal sovereignty, rarely seen with more than a sentinel and a smaller cohort entity. Aside from the cohort and sentinel clearly being subservient to the sovereign of the group, the several nuances of crystalline entities' socio-hierarchical relationships are lost on us. Wow, they like to give me a lot of long, difficult words. But basically we have some crystalline entities and we have observed them, and now we want to find the practical use for this information. It adds the crystal sonar modifier to my empire, and we can spend 30 energy to instantly survey any crystalline entity system when entered. Now, the thing is, as your game progresses, you can end up getting modifiers. Apparently, it didn't pop up just yet. Assuming it will pop up as soon as we're done. But as you can see, we found another anomaly. This one has a 12% failure risk. So I'm going to go ahead and research this one to show you exactly what happens. But I wanted to see also, let's just wait until the next month, EU4 style. Empire. Did it go somewhere well? Ah, here it is. Crystal sonar. Yes. Well, basically it just gives me an instant survey if I go into system they're in. So in theory it's kind of helpful, but depends on how well we can use that. Sadly, we haven't actually found any more deposits of any kind, so building energy credit deposit up is decent because it will help me in the future. Now we've encountered some more aliens. These time we'll basically call them beta aliens. Let's go ahead and investigate them as well. And as you can see, there's also a lot of different stars you can find. Here you have a pulsar. There are black holes. There are other things here too. I can't remember them all, sadly. But basically, pulsars and black holes are nice places to find a large amount of tech. Our first stumbling steps into the void beyond Bax Prime were not motivated solely by curiosity or desire to conquer the unknown, or a need to leave a mark on our galaxy. The biosphere of Bax Prime has undergone rapid changes in the past few centuries, and prominent scientists warn that Bax Prime may be faced with the beginning of a mass extinction event, that cyclical purging of life that is inseparable from planetary existence in the greater cosmos. A research plan has been put together to study a number of planets rendered uninhabitable by major astronomical incidents or planet-bound catastrophes. We hope that by reconstructing these events, a similar fate may be avoided for Bax Prime. Basically, we're trying to avoid a mass extinction event, and the way that we've decided to try and do that is basically by investigating other places where it might have happened. But here you can see the result of the anomaly that we found. It was basically just the cargo pod that was left by someone in the upper atmosphere of Mersum 3 long ago. It has somehow escaped the notice of other spacefarers, and its decaying orbit means it would have been lost in the gas giant's crushing atmosphere within another few years. When the crew of the James Cook unsealed the pod, they found a stash of alien jewelry made out of precious metals. So as you can see, we're getting some energy credits for that. So again, it's not really that bad, but considering that I could have lost my ship at worst, yeah, it's a gamble. But usually it will pay off as long as you're patient and let your scientists get the necessary levels.
Situation log updated.
So
Hostile fleet.
we have actually encountered more aliens. This time it's the gamma aliens. So as you can see here, can I research you right away? Yeah, I can. I can research them side by side. So you should probably do that if you can. So as you can see here, mass extinction through the ages. That's the question we got earlier. We have to find a broken planet, a burned planet, a chilly planet, a desolate planet, and a noxious planet. Well, broken planet sounds like the only thing that would actually be difficult about these, but we can track on map, which basically means it will show us where a system where we can find it. So basically I just need to get my FDL tag to bring me here, and boom, problem solved. So again, it might seem like a big problem, but it's really not. So I don't think we had any time on that thing, so we're not going to be focusing on the mass extinction thing until quite a bit of time. So with that said, we're going to end it here. I'm sorry that this first episode came out as more of a tutorial, but I find it easier to both watch a game and understand it better. So sorry for probably being condescending right now, but it'll probably be the same next episode, sadly. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.